One really irritating and oddly lengthy cold later, the challenge series returns for episode 102, I think, versus 101. It's already been that long. I've forgotten where I am in the series. Great. No, I don't have memory issues. You do. Anyway, pretty sure it's 101. But yeah. And of course, we get back into it right at I almost said Mercury's. Well, yes, but also no. The Challenge Series is basically home circuit. If NASCAR has Daytona, WEC has Le Mans, and Formula One has Monaco, we've got Fuji Speedway. I guess. I don't really know how else to put it. But yeah, let us begin. And Fuji is away to start off the episode, and we've got a few new faces around, or at least a couple of really two new faces and like a couple of other new cars. As we head into T1, Natsuki Narashi and her Initial D themed CR7 is the Focus driver. Already made up 4 places with an opportunistic run through T1. She's trying to get another one on Macintosh. She'll have the better line, so she might be able to do it. One of those drivers that's debuting here has already been shot quite a few times. Stop moving around on the leaderboard! Daniel Grimes Jr., the son of a former basically stuntman who died a few years back in a biking crash. And clearly I think Daniel Grimes is a little bit insecure, considering it looks like his car's got metal plating a la Logan Cool's Camaro. Also an explosive symbol. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but it could be for decoration, I guess. Or, I guess technically it's fuel tank. Anyway, it already has damage as well, so clearly that armor plating didn't help much. He and pretty much everybody else in the field, bar a few exceptions. My god. Kasai got absolutely dusted on the front stretch. Yo's kicking into maximum overdrive. There's another gear in that thing. Didn't realize this thing had top speed like that. Nico leads the way in her Supra. All of us at Mercury are kind of in the process of working on pretty much a garage overhaul at the moment. So, Nico's car may look dramatically different next time we see it. At least that Supra will. We also got a bit of a Tokyo Expressway battle going on. Kasai versus Osumi, heading through the middle part of the track. 2 Shutoko Expressway drivers. One drives for the team named Twister, and the other one leads the team named Commander. What the heck? Oh, Natsuki just got super unstable, heading towards the left-hander. Thankfully, she's good at drifting, so she was pretty easily able to hang on to that. Oh, it's still giving her problems. And based on context clues, it seems that only about 12 of the 20 cars made it through lap 1 with no damage. I don't remember if we saw this car last week, but Arisa also has an R32, a modified version of one of their old touring cars that ran as privateer teams a while back. Particularly in the Gran Turismo Association, not like the actual touring cars from like Group A. No, this is a little different. And right behind her is a new driver in the form of Momoko Gotokuji. Childhood friend of the current race leader, Miyako Katsumi. And their choice in car matches, kind of. Same era-ish, except one's a Z8 and the other's an M3. Miyako was kind of nowhere for a while, but she had a really good run at the end of the World Championship last season. And ever since then, I guess she must have a confidence boost, because now she shows up at least once a week. As often as she can, considering she's only got the one car. But when she does show up, she's been doing really well, obviously. She's leading the race relatively comfortably over Yo at the moment. Nico's fallen to third. And Dietrich Hammer is having his first really, notable run, basically since he debuted. He's been here for a few weeks, but he hasn't had a whole lot of great performances, but now here he is on the back of Kasai looking for something into the chicane, but he'll just find a back bumper and not much else. Natsuki is slowly creeping up on them, but not really at the rate that she needs to be in order to actually make up a whole lot of places before we're done here. At the moment, she's really only on pace for maybe 4th or probably 5th. Her RX-7 doesn't have the best straight line speed, doesn't seem to have the best stability either, based on what we saw earlier. The race leader is more than half a straightaway ahead of Natsuki, so that is obviously out of sight as we head on to the last lap of the race. Asumi got ahead of, and definitely drove away from Kasai, and Hammer is going to also get ahead of the RX-7 through turn 1 and basically 1.5, because I don't really know if I'd call that turn 2 there. Now they're looking at what could be a battle between RX-7s as we head into the middle part of the circuit. Natsuki will try on the outside, but her car just can't carry that momentum properly. Not enough stability for that. Gets to the outside of the RX-7 though. Too wide at the hairpin. Who gets the better run off? It looks like it is going to be Natsuki maybe, but she's gonna... Okay, never mind. She's clear before we even make that hairpin. Or that hairpin, that apex. So 6th place for Natsuki, but her time is just about up, I would say. She's not going to really be able to do much against an A45 and a bunch of slow-speed hairpins where four-wheel drive takeoff and launch speeds are going to basically control, keep that battle out of nothing. There won't be one. That's simple. There will not be a battle. He's actually trying to get up to the back of another four-wheel drive car in the form of a Siemens Impreza. In the meantime, Katsumi is going to head across the start-finish line. That's a surprise win, I would say, but she did start pretty high on the grid. Victory for the Z8. Yo and Nico finish 2nd and 3rd. Kosumi hangs on to 4th, and Natsuki gets a mere 6th place. Lacking the power to really do much here at the Fuji Speedway circuit. Passing Hammer after the race is over, but that's not going to get you anywhere, I would say. But today was not really a day to debut. With, well, I think 2 debuting drivers and a 3rd debuting car. None of them even cracked the top 10. So yeah, Arisa 12th, Gotokuji 13th, and Daniel Grimes down in 17th. Really, not the greatest debut for Grimes, I would say. Obviously, that's just because everybody got a bunch of damage on lap 1. Turn 1 is a bit hectic here, as it is at most tracks, to be honest. So, I guess they can only just hope they start higher on the grid next time or something. I don't really know. Okay, so, I'm an idiot. Arisa was the debuting driver in that race. I forgot that even though she was around as early as last week, she had officially signed up about 3 days before, or she signed up actually like the day before the first race of episode 100, but couldn't make it to that race. And then couldn't make it to the other two because they were races and categories that she didn't have a car for. So she debuted in her R32 in the last race, and that was her debut. And full disclosure, she's in this race again in a very different car, in a Volkswagen Golf, which I believe is her daily driver, just very, very heavily modified. There's been some drama with her already. She's got a bit of a self-awareness issue, and a bit of an ego as well. And she's already had run-ins with multiple drivers, both of which are actually, well, one of which is on the front row. She had an argument with me and Thrasher, kind of a half argument, but then she had an actual argument with Maki a couple minutes later. Basically, she's a musician, and she thinks that idols and school idols are pathetic and fake musicians. Boy, is she in for a rude awakening when she finds out there are 13 of those here. Anyway. Actually more than, well, 12 school or former school idols, which would be more relevant because she was just in a band class back in her own school days. Two pop idols, and a former idol who's a little bit beyond her age. Another debuting driver, Kirara Suzushiro. That is a hard name to say. Pizza delivery driver by day, and apparently race car driver by evening. So I understand the pizza company she works for has a bit of a competitive wage system where the best delivery drivers get the best paychecks. So everybody has been in basically a race to deliver the most pizzas as fast and efficiently as possible. She's in direct competition with her co-worker Connor Nazang. Go figure, they're both on the same row of the grid here. Other news, although this is not his car, this is Derek De La Cruz driving Keith Kilgore's Camaro, as, well, Keith had every intention of starting this race until he sprained his hand. And that's hard to drive a race car when your hand/wrist doesn't really move. You kind of have to be able to do that to turn a wheel. So Derek is filling in for him. And I believe that is basically everything of importance. Oh no, Chika, okay, I know, there's two more. So Chika Takami is debuting a new 640 class GC8 Impreza. This is not a 22B, this is just a regular coupe. Or, yeah, Impreza sedan. Coupe? I don't... and then, I'm going the wrong way. Shoji Hakure is the first driver to take on the new FL5 Civic. The livery that looks basically like a carbon copy of the real-life FL5 touring car that runs somewhere. I think Super Taiku or something? Taiku? However you say that. I think it is Taiku. The POV driver, as we get underway, is Vert Wheeler. Alright, that was an interesting way to be interrupted. Anyway, the race is actually green this time. We are looking at pretty much every member of the Scorchers team that actually has a car that can run in this class. So, Bert, Taro, and Tony Berry have 640 class vehicles. The truck definitely sticks up, but I think he's literally 3 wide with his teammates there for a second. Four-wheel drive is benefiting Vert, but the only place that truck's really going to lose, it's definitely going to be in these hairpins, I would say. It'll be good on the way out of them, but it won't be good going in. Man, just a sweep around the outside of a Mustang anyway, and you'll get the move done on the inside of it in the next hairpin. A little bit of contact made, but he might get ahead of De La Cruz. They're 3 wide. Derek backs out of that one. Isn't his car to get into a crash with. Around the outside of the debuting Suzushiro. And a sudden move to the left to get ahead of the other delivery driver. I won't say delivery guy, but I mean, Kurara is a girl, so, you know. Outdrags Izumi. And outdrags the Golf of Arisa. Yeah, its top speed woes don't really matter until it hits 6th gear, in which case it then struggles to reach 150, but for low range acceleration, the F-150 is very decent. That was also very weird. After a dominating first lap, Bert's momentum sort of stalled out a bit. He's trying to run down the two Mercury drivers that started on the front row. He's gotten up to the back of Nico though, now as I say that, so I guess not. I thought his momentum died, but I think that's actually just because Nico and Maki were so far ahead of the next car. Down the inside, has to hit the curb because he can't get his truck to rotate otherwise. But ahead of the Supra nonetheless. And now one Ferrari stands between Vert and the race lead. And the Ferrari will probably be a problem for Vert down the front stretch though. Even with the better exit. He's gonna, that run's gonna stall out in a minute. And there it is. Now Maki's gonna probably have the advantage into 1. I'm actually surprised she wasn't clear at the braking point. But she is clear on exit, so she had the inside line courtesy of that straight line speed. Bird is once again hooking the curbs to get that truck to turn, getting run a little bit off the road by Maki, who, well, obviously somehow didn't see the truck there, but moved over to give it space. Kind of covered Bird off there, albeit probably by accident more than anything. Back around the outside, still has to run the curbs, but I don't think he cares here. He gets to the inside lane. Maki tries to hang on, but the outside doesn't work there. A little bit off track though. And Maki gets back to the truck, but now on the exit of this hairpin. Oh, he's sliding out of control. Weight transfer just did him in. Still doesn't matter, I don't think. This has been the weirdest battle for the lead I've ever seen, but I think Vert's finally come out on top. And he will now proceed to basically drive away. While Vert continues to pull away at the front, we have a battle for 4th, which looks like it could come down to 3 cars the way things are progressing. A bit of a front-wheel drive challenge on offer, as Nazeng is up to the back of Ishigaya, and Suzushiro is also catching them. That Volkswagen is very clearly off pace at the moment. This is probably one of the only tracks on the Challenge Series lineup where the front-wheel drive cars can actually have remote success. Front-wheel drive cars in the Challenge Series have a history of sort of running in the back of most races, but today, not so much. 4, 5, and 6 for a group of them, and Nazeng is going to look to take 4th from the Volkswagen down the inside at the first set of corners, but Ishigaya brakes just late enough to stave off the Pizza Boy. not last too long, though. Never mind. I thought he had a bigger run than that. He does not have enough of a run, I don't think, to be getting alongside. Suzuhiro had the fastest lap for a moment, but another front-wheel drive car way in the back clearly caught out with damage early on. Shoji Hakure runs the fastest lap, so even though he's had a misfortunate debut for the FL5, that lap time shows that this thing has some serious pace if you can keep it out of trouble. Nijigaya still got Connor filling her mirrors. She's changing the way she's taking these hairpins to try and keep that EK away. Yeah, the front-wheel drive cars can make do here at Interlagos because they make a lot of time up in the center of these corners. They're lightweight, having that benefit and that benefit alone. But in the precise opposite of that mantra, Burt Wheeler will lumber his way down the front stretch here at Interlagos, and I believe take Scorcher's first win of the season, and probably their first win in a very long time. And Mercury Racing 2-3, Nico caught up to the back of Maki right at the end, and it's a drag race across the line, but Ichigaya barely hangs on to her fourth place. Even still, she'll probably still be annoyed she lost to two school idols. Such as the vibe that she gave me in the brief interaction that I unfortunately had to have with her. De La Cruz grabs 8th in relief of Kilgore. Shoji's attempt to debut that FL5 Civic really didn't go to plan at all, but a minute 35 lap time here proves that that thing will have speed later in a race where he's not crashing into somebody. On to round 3 then. We are here ahead of round 3 after an hour's worth of waiting for my mother to get ready for something where I didn't feel like recording while she was here because she could make a bunch of talking at any time. Trial Mountain places us to a 715 class race. We're just kind of covering all of the basics today. We got the 675s at Fuji and the 715s at Trial Mountain because that's like the most common, like one of the more common venues for this category. I mean, it seems like most Fuji races are in the 675 class, because that's like it's not the quintessential Challenge Series category, but it kind of is at the same time. Like, if there was one, it has to be that one, because it's got, by far, the most different cars in it. Well over 100 at this point. And 640 is not far behind that. But no debuts in this race, so we'll just head straight into this round with, nothing else in mind. We are green from Trial Mountain, and, I had the camera up there, but the POV driver is Vittorio Veneto in her F430. Despite having a very masculine name, that is definitely a girl driving that vehicle. As we head very slowly through the first set of turns, as it's always a complete mess here, as already with some contact being made with Zara Lupton, nearly putting Veneto in the grass. From what I understand, there's a little bit of bad blood between those, the team that we are now sort of referring to as Azure Lane, as they've already made contact, Ayanami. There's a bit of bad blood between Veneto and that group of people. Already saw a little bit of it there, as she basically just, doesn't check up and everybody else does, and scorches ahead of both me and Logan. I always love that shot. To the back of Walker. Four-wheel drive can't save him. The F430 still gets a better exit. Up to the inside of the Soloco. I don't know why... Oh, no. I was about to say I don't know why Veneto is listed as Italian. No, Riker, that's because that's you driving the car. in metagaming. Run to the back of Elizabeth, Unicorn as well. We have more pit stops up ahead. Hammer has damage from some unknown source. The contact did not give the McLaren any damage though. Out drags Ellie on the front stretch, the Force Cayman not having much to offer in a straight line. And in general, the F430 is usually one of the more balanced cars in this category. There's a reason there's 3 of them now. Because, you know, it's kind of in that middle range in a lot of categories. It's not too expensive, you're not breaking the bank with an F430, although it's not cheap either. But it's got good stability, good cornering, and plenty of top speed to go around. Also a bit of contact with Blanchard, who made an interesting move across the track to take the racing line. Nearly chopped Veneto's nose off, and I think the contact that was made was probably Vittorio showing that she didn't appreciate the line that Riley took. No contact was made, that doesn't mean there was no chance of it being made if things were different. About 20 seconds later, and Veneto has caught up to the back of Allison Hornet. Surprised there was no contact made into that turn, because, you know, Hornet's one of the Azure Lane drivers. Down the inside. That had no chance of working, but Veneto didn't care. Surprised we didn't see more contact made. I guess maybe it's not boiled over as much as I was led to assume, although Zero has completely missed the following hairpin, and that allows Hornet to retake the lead. Almost allowed Blanchard to take back second, but not quite. Just barely kept second. On the lap 3, and oh, there's the contact. Oh, yep, I surprised I didn't see it earlier, but there's the quota fulfilled. More contact gives the Viper driver the bumper and the rear quarter panel, and the F430 takes the lead back. Hornet makes an equally aggressive send down the inside, nearly turns the F430 at the exit of the tight turn. And the Viper ACR cuts her way back through. Riley's licking her lips right now as she's seen this in front of her. More contact, pushing Hornet almost out to the outside barrier. And if there was any chance for Riley to get back to second ahead of the Viper, this is it. But the Viper's got a little more power than Riley can make up for with the slipstream. How about in the braking zone? Down the inside goes the Corvette. Bit of an American sports car battle, even if they're a little bit different as far as car eras go. The damage dealt to Hornet's Viper is probably also not helping her any. And so it is now Blanchard into P2 and on the back of the F430, who really hasn't gotten away at all. Hornet is forced to dive into the pits for the severe rear-end damage that she was given by Vittorio Veneto's fierce aggression. And we move on to the final lap of the race, which should probably be pretty straightforward for the F430 driver if I had to guess. Only a couple more corners left for Veneto to tackle. Blanchard hung on to the back of the F430, but never had the pace to actually try anything resembling an overtake against her. And it's definitely not clean or pretty. Nobody ever expected it to be, admittedly. I certainly didn't. I'm sure a few people might have expected better, but I kind of knew going in. I'd been told by, well, basically by them themselves, that the Azure Lane crew really don't like Veneto, so they're probably seething as she crosses the finish line to take the victory here. Riley takes second place, and Ellie hangs on to the end of the podium, keeping it out of the hands of Elizabeth Unicorn as well as Cam Walker. we are going to just go ahead and disregard the pre-race intro here. There's really not much to cover. It's the dirt race at Sardinia Windmills. There's only so many places you can have it, so it doesn't really need much of an introduction at this point. We're on board with Sarah Uni as she gives a door full to Thrasher at the exit of turn 2. There really is not much worth commenting on other than the fact that Saeed Al-Zaman is back in action after being away for the Dakar Rally over the month of January, for the most part. And he does have a new alliance as he's come back, as, well, everybody pretty much has noticed that JSR has a partnership with Toyota, having been established at the end of Season 2, going into 3. As we see 2 examples of that here with Protex's Tundra and Fabian's GR Corolla. Somewhere... It's all the way up here, wow. Yeah, Fabian's GR Corolla and Damien Protexa and his Tundra are demonstrations of that, but the man that actually got that done for them is Saeed Al-Zaman himself. And he is also JSR's newest driver. He was sort of the middleman that allowed JSR to get a Toyota, partnership established, and they're about to run over each other as out-of-control, wayward Protexa just slams his new teammate right into the wall. I think we just also missed something else here. In the meantime, as those two ran into each other, we also completely missed Uni getting way out of shape at turn 1. She keeps it barely off of the wall, but loses a lot of time and also loses the position to Hanamura, which she then immediately claims back and gets back ahead of Itsuki and another some of the other Subarus on the track. The leader I didn't really expect to see at the moment was Valentina Amalfi leading the way in her A45. There's also me, sliding ahead of Fidel Fabian. And Uni is catching both of us pretty rapidly. On the outside to Morris, that becomes the inside there. It's about as clear, well, routine overtake through a set of hairpins. I also followed her ahead of the Focus driver. Katamatsu got it a bit wrong out of that jump, and Uni takes full advantage. Only to get even more out of shape this time. No avoidance of the wall, but she sort of, just kind of bounces off of the wall instead and keeps on going. Continue, as Cam would probably say in this situation. And he gets back down my inside, slides ahead of me, but can't really go any further as there's a van in the way. Like, really, in the way. Like, dude is not taking this corner fast at all. I suppose what you can expect from a minivan, but still. Uni gets back into P2. And now she will track down that A45 AMG. Not really that far away, all things considered. Only about a 2-second lead, and it's decreasing. As I will follow Uni on her warpath, I will get into third ahead of the van. And I look away for 3 seconds, and she's taking the lead from Valentina. Alright, that advanced quickly. They have a wide berth at the hairpin, doesn't really matter too much. The 22B has taken the lead. I'll give a quick look as we head through the long left-hander. I believe Amalfi catches a little bit of understeer on the exit. I take advantage, and I grab P2. I really didn't know I had it in me to be a dirt driver like this. I really did not know, considering I almost never drive off-road. And I'm sure there's a little bit of skill involved, just gained from drifting as often as I used to. I don't really do it anymore, but I used to drift a lot. before the days of the Challenge Series. So maybe there's a little bit of skill carried over from doing that translates to dirt. But I'm not a truck guy either. And here I am in basically a detuned trophy truck. And the only car on this track I haven't passed, it seems like, is Uni in her Subaru. Oh my god! Hold on to that though, somehow. Don't know how. I mean, she does not lose control at turn 1 this time around. So long as she makes the next jump at the end of the track, she'll probably be in the clear on this one. So it was, as Uni makes her way under the last of the corners. One more jump to make onto wheel landing, but Uni will take the victory here from Sardinia Windmills. I will crawl my way to P2, and Amalfi will hang on to third place in what was basically a very single file affair here from the Sardinia dirt track. Once we got past lap 2 or 3, pretty much everybody ended up settling into the positions they would finish in for the most part. The only real things I remember seeing were Chelsea West had a last-minute surge from last to 17th in the back of the field, and Rebecca fell hard from 9th to about, looks like 12th, that would be. Yeah. She tried to keep my dad at bay and lost control trying to do so, allowing my dad as well as 2 Tundras to overtake. But I suppose you really would be forgiven for losing control in a rear-wheel drive car on dirt every once in a while, so the likes of her and Thrasher and Tyler automatically put themselves at a disadvantage by even driving those cars, but they adamantly refuse to do anything else, especially considering Tyler has a very rally-capable car in the form of the Impreza he runs in 640, but he refuses to do anything else besides the General on dirt tracks. I'm not going to say I'm surprised by that, but it is just kind of like a bit of a question mark to me that I'll just never fully understand. Alright, we have arrived for the final race of this episode. It will be Kyoto Park, the full layout, so both courses combined into one. Plays host to our little, wow, words. The roulette race. There we go. My god, that was a brain fart and a half. We have one debuting driver who waited till the last round of the episode. Andy Summer. Or as, well, most people actually know him, Captain Falcon. He just didn't decide. He decided to just not put that on a leaderboard and actually have his actual name there. Kind of surprised me. I figured he'd go for the name that's more well known. At any rate, yeah, Captain Falcon. I don't know why I'm saying that like the Smash announcer. Drives a Bachmano that he made to look like his Blue Falcon. For those that don't know, for anybody who's not aware of, well, basically old series on the channel that do canonically tie into the Challenge series, Captain Falcon. Why am I doing that? It's like subconscious. They were a part of Universe Zero and Time Loop, basically. And, you know, they stopped racing for a while after that. Kind of similar to how Burt Wheeler and Ryan Stevens were. You know, other competitors in Time Loop and Universe Zero. Same with Alex Kwiatkowski, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, yeah. Captain Falcon, normal voice, re-enters the racing world with the Challenger Series in a car that looks like his Blue Falcon, basically. Number 907, because 07 is not allowed. Side note, I do like how somebody has actually taken the time to post decals for the number font used by all of the F-Zero machines. That's kind of neat. But we scroll back to our POV driver, Veronica Katsuragi, as we, well, begin the replay. And the race begins. The 600 class car on the front row immediately gets run over, basically. like literally run over, actually, gets rear-ended by somebody, I'm not sure who. But context dictates it might be Dom DePrisco, as he has front and left end damage to match Willie Rose's rear and right side damage. Pretty much every driver that debuted in this episode is also here. And a lot of cars, like, you know, Happy Ray here with his FL5 Civic, Kurora Suzuhiro here again. Obviously, Ishigaya is in the race. And this is plus fun, I'm not gonna lie. Bagstrom was putting on his best driving, or his best defensive driving gloves today. And he kept the field at bay for half the lap, really. It was kind of crazy. Katie Rose probably could have passed these S's, but she didn't. A 6-car train being led by the E92. We head into the second half of the lap here, roughly, or thereabouts. And it's only now, as he gets a bad exit from this long left-hander, that Katie Rose finally decides to try and make a pass into the next hairpin. Tries to outbrake the E92 and succeeds. The lead changes hands there. But Kevin wasn't phased, he still hung on to second. So Barbara and Riel didn't really have a chance to take it back. Captain Falcon kind of embarrassed me a little bit, but he took damage trying to get ahead of everybody. I don't know who he ran into the backup, but he ran into somebody and got damage to his mono. Even still, he makes the pass from Kevin. He clearly had speed in his car, even with the damage, so I shouldn't really be surprised that, you know. And then suddenly Katsuragi made an appearance. She made up a lot of time in the run from the Miyabi layout up to the final 2 corners. And she puts herself into 3rd place before we get into turn 1 here. Now the leader of the race is in a 715 class car. So technically Riel should be ahead of that by now, and just isn't. But it looks like Katsuragi, at the rate things are going here, will probably be getting to Katie before she does. As we reach about the midway point of the race, or thereabouts, we see DePrisco and Captain Falcon. I'll probably just be calling him that, honestly. I just got used to that from the days we were racing against each other in, like, Time Loop and Universe Zero, that I just call him Captain Falcon. And I might just keep doing that. Hopefully he doesn't care too much if I do. We see the 2 of them making their way through the lower class traffic after damage on lap 1. However, well, Lily Rose really wouldn't be able to do the same thing in her Tesla, so she couldn't really get much higher, which is hilariously putting Marcus Carlton in the category lead just by default. Down the inside, meanwhile, goes Veronica, trying to get ahead of the C8 of Rose, the other Rose sister. Can't quite get it done in the corner, but can certainly use the increased acceleration, being a category above that Corvette, and out-drag it. Riel tries to do the same thing. Leaderboard has a stroke, and I can't keep up with his wear. And Riel will sneak through, following Katsuragi into 2nd place. The only other 750 class car in the race is Sarah Uni, who we've just discovered is probably not going to be getting anywhere as she loses control. That's a merge. That's done massive damage to Kevin's car. I didn't know about this. I was ahead of this, fighting. I mean, I saw this, but I didn't see what happened afterward. I think Uni tried to give me a little more space than I actually needed. Me and her are both in 750 class cars, so. Actually, she just understeered, really. She wasn't even alongside me. Gets slammed into by Angelos, and makes a rejoin of all time right into the way of Kevin Bagstrom. And Kevin is lucky that M3 works. But that is certainly going to set him back a long ways, because he's going to have to limp his way back to the pit lane. He doesn't have a choice though. He can't let this car die on him. This is his salary. So, you know. Actually, I don't know how that works. Would AMG just replace it for him? I'm not really sure. I've never really asked. I just kind of assumed it didn't matter. Either way, I'm sure it'd be probably a deductible from the contract if AMC had to cover a new car. I can only guess. I know the sponsorship relations between those two parties are very favorable for Kevin. I mean, AMC is basically keeping him out of the poverty line at the moment, but I can't imagine they're just willing to give him free BMWs, even if the crash that took this one out, or might take this one out, was by no means his fault. Uni should never have done any of that. She shouldn't have understeered there. That was already enough of a skill issue, and then she did that, rejoining the circuit. That was also a neat shot. We saw Uni there, and we saw the two leaders on the opposite side of the track. Or no, those weren't the leaders, those were the cars in the back. I know track maps, definitely. Carlton is going for an overtake on Suzushiro. Mind you, this Swift is 640, by the way. But that ice cream van is apparently really freaking fast. Because that is a 600 class vehicle, keeping up with and almost overtaking her. And that Suzuki wasn't bad either. We just saw it run top 5 at Interlagos, or close to 6th place earlier this week. So Falcon, meanwhile, made Captain Falcon, Andy, whatever, back into the top 10, and with damage dealt to Sarah and to Angelos, they're going to get a little higher here in a moment. Bagstrom will mercifully reach the pit lane here as well, and he will be quick to duck in and get that thing repaired. That is imperative that he does so. So Dom puts himself back into 6th place, Captain Falcon not far away. I didn't even have enough speed to get ahead of Katie. Like, I was barely able to get ahead of Barbara. What the heck? Oh, that was a really bad bounce for Veronica. She finds some grass, wasn't able to get the car stopped because it wasn't even on the ground. And so now she finds herself suddenly fighting Charlotte Riel for the race lead after getting her NSX back on the road. She lost the battle, but still won the war. She's able to out-drag the roof on corner exit. Riel's not done yet, and she actually puts a bumper to the back of the 70. No, the NSX. Just say the NSX. Forget the NASCAR joke. They don't have triple-digit numbers in NASCAR. Veronica manages to get away with the lead narrowly after that mistake. Yeah, I didn't have the pace to get ahead of Katie Rose. I barely had the pace to keep Barbara behind me. And my car is in a class above hers. The Falcon is looking to put the moves on Totori. Taps the wall there, no damage dealt to the car, but the line he attempted to take actually slowed him down enough to where Uni now has a chance to overtake him, and she will. Not. Never mind. Oh, never mind, now she definitely will. Gets the run off those corners, and ahead of the mono. Falcon's not gonna give up though, he's gonna go back down the inside of the Viper. This is a really weird battle. Most of this race has been just kind of weird, honestly. And most of the weirdness is centered around Uni herself in some way, shape, or form. She runs off the track again, I saw that. And she has damage again, how? How do you do that? And that's how, okay, so you got damaged by driving off the track. That's noob. Absolute noob in that Viper, I tell you what. Well, time is up, so DePrisco's gonna cross, set a new lap record in the race, but his race is over, so he will only be able to get 6th place. I don't think he could have gotten much higher if he didn't end the race just there, but, well, we'll never know. Kotori ends up winning the 675 class, being ahead of multiple cars in higher classes, beating Captain Falcon, Buck Angelos, and Sarah Uni in vehicles that, you know, she should never have been ahead of in the first place. I mean, Falcon got damaged, yeah. As did Buck and Sarah, as did Buck and Uni, for that matter, I suppose. I finally did get up to Katie Rose, but I could actually never really get it done. Part of it because I had a bad bounce of my own that prevented me from braking. I got into the back of Katie Rose a little bit. And that bumper contact is the reason I even got alongside her, so I put the bumper to the back of the 661, I think that is. I don't remember. Yeah, 661. Surprisingly, I didn't have a knife put up to my throat after the race. I try to outbrake her at the hairpin, but I instead get outbroken by Barbara, who, I don't even know how I let her in there, but I did. The damage I sustained to the front of my car, as well as getting in my own head after nearly crashing into somebody, was not helping my cornering at all. Katie, yeah, did take damage from that, but it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. What does matter is Veronica heading into the final hairpin of the circuit. And despite a bad bounce or two, she will head across the start-finish line in first to win the roulette race and cap off episode 101. Charlotte Riel with 2nd place. Katie Rose not only winning her category, but finishing out the podium, narrowly getting ahead of Barbara and myself across the line. As for other drivers, we already mentioned, Kotori won in her category, finishing ahead of multiple cars that took damage during the race, but should never have been behind her regardless, or, you know, without that fact in mind, including this moron. Vert Wheeler wins the 640 class, again, 2nd win of the week. And Marcus Carlton wins the 600 class. Not a day for Kevin, that's for sure. He doesn't even beat all of the 600 class cars. All the time he lost with that engine damage really did him in, to say the least. But that'll do it for episode 101. Yeah, the cold is basically gone now. There's still a tiny bit of it left. But recording should be back into full swing by the end of this week. I'll actually be moving shortly, but I'll be moving on Tuesday, so this episode might be going up around Monday evening anyway. You know, I don't actually know when the episode will be done, but I record it on Saturday afternoon, but it might be up. It could be up Saturday evening. Wow, really? Sunday evening, or it could be up on Wednesday. I don't honestly know. But whenever, goodbye.